He's a traitor.
Why?
Because he joined the other side.
What side?
The dark side.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hey everybody!
Hello.
We're all here. Bill, Natasha, Isabella, and William with Nursing Our Travel Bug. Where are we, Bella?
Fort Griswold.
What brought us here, Bill?
Well, we're actually out on a scavenger hunt for the Full-Time Family Summer Scavenger Hunt.
Yeah, one of the things we had to check off the list was a real battlefield. And this one popped up on Google. It's about a half an hour away from where we're studying. This is in Groton, Connecticut. Behind us is the monument that was dedicated in the 1800s. So come along with us as we check out the battlefield. One of the last battles of the American Revolution was fought here on September 6, 1781. On that day, a British force of 800 soldiers overwhelmed the fort and massacred 88 of 166 Connecticut militiamen stationed here. An additional 35 Americans were wounded. Some died later of their injuries. 53 British were killed and 127 were wounded in a battle that lasted only 40 minutes. The Americans were commanded by Colonel William Ledyard. The British were commanded by Brigadier General Benedict Arnold, a son of Connecticut who had fought in the American Centennial Army, defected to the British Army. Was taken from the wreck of Admiral Cervera's flagship Maria Theresa, which fired the first shot July 3rd, 1898, as she steamed from Santiago Harbor.
It's an obelisk thing.
This monument was erected under the patronage of the state of Connecticut, 1830.
We really were lucky to stumble upon this gem here in Connecticut. This state park is open to the public 7 days a week and offers free admission. The museum on the grounds does have limited hours, so unfortunately we weren't able to check it out. However, the park does offer a self-guided audio tour from your cell phone. Both Bill and I never really were into history while in school. Yet, this travel lifestyle has afforded us the opportunity to experience history instead of reading about it, and we now have a new fondness and appreciation for it.
On this spot, Colonel William Ledyard fell by his own sword in the hand of a British officer to whom he had surrendered in the massacre of Fort Griswold, September 6, 1781. Wow, he surrendered, and the guy took his sword and killed him, even though he said, "I give up." Is where they stored the munitions, and this is the one thing that saved the remaining soldiers at the fort. So once the soldiers came into the fort, the Colonel Ledyard surrendered. The commander of the British Army actually killed him with his own sword, and that was kind of the start of the slaughter of the Americans who were here. So the barracks that we pointed out back here with these stones, it was a wooden barracks where some of the American soldiers were seeking refuge. The British actually opened the doors and stuck their guns through the windows and actually killed the soldiers hiding out in the barracks. The one thing that stopped the rest of the soldiers being killed was this munitions storage. They were afraid that if they had continued firing, somebody would have hit this and we would have had a major explosion. So of the 166 soldiers who were at this fort, 88 of them died, but some of them may have been saved by the existence of this munitions. So this little building down here is called a shot furnace, and they would heat up the cannonballs in the shot furnace. Then they would take iron tongs and carry it to the cannons and fire it at the ships. And once the cannon reached the ship and landed, the heat of the cannonball would start the ship on fire. So not only would it put a hole in your ship, but it would start it on fire. That's an ingenious, effective method. Do you think Dad could fit in here?
Yeah. Not if he's 6'9". 9.
Well, I can fit, and I'm 5'6". He could fit if he bent over, right?
I don't think I would.
Despite their small numbers and inexperience, only 3 Americans died during the Battle of Groton Heights, while the enemy lost 1/4 of their men. After the British had taken care of their dead and wounded, they transported the 35 wounded Americans to Ebenezer Avery's house and left them there unattended. On their way to the ships, the British set fire to Groton. The scars from the Battle of Groton Heights lingered for years. 38 women were widowed, and more than 100 children were left fatherless. 21 buildings were destroyed by fire, including the homes of survivors. Tombstones still bear inscriptions indicating the men slaughtered by the British. The community gathers annually to solemnly remember those who fought and died defending American history. This is just a big giant furnace. All they're doing is putting wood in there to make the fire hot, so they make the cannonballs hot. Put the cannonball in this window, and then you so it just rolls down like the 2 anchors that are on the side of the house, and then this has like some kind of a gate or something holding it closed. And then, oh, see the grooves? There's grooves here, so you probably put your tongs up here to grab your ball. That's my hypothesis.
So we talked about the guy constantly running up and down here, delivering the flaming hot cannonball. Can you imagine being that guy, running down to the shot house, back and forth all day? Hopefully he doesn't do that while he's carrying a flaming hot cannonball. That would end in disaster.
Connecticut is not far from Lyme, Connecticut. What? Where Lyme disease was discovered. How many British soldiers were there?
800.
800. How many American soldiers were defending the fort?
Only 160.
165. Close. How many died?
88.
So what percentage of the people fighting at the fort died?
50%.
50% of the people died. And ultimately the fort was surrendered to
The British.
the British. And what did the British do after the fort was surrendered?
Killed everyone.
Well, they killed most everyone. What did they do to the neighboring towns?
Burn them.
They burned the towns. That's what Benedict Arnold was doing. He led half of the soldiers on the other side of the river, right? Very sad, isn't it? Sad part of our history. And that's why we have to not only remember those who fought bravely and gave their lives to fight for America, but we also have to respect them, yes? And celebrate them.
What? It says lease.
Oh no. Gotta sell your pet to go here?
Oh.
Good thing we didn't bring Bernie.
No person shall possess alcohol in containers larger than 1 liter. Drink up, Johnny.
Warning. Warning.
Oh no, they'll suck your blood.